What's up, YouTube? So wanted to come on and do a review today. So this is my review of the YoyoFactory 2016 Bimetal Superstar. Bimetal. See, I'm going to kind of preface this review by saying that generally I don't favor bimetals. I kind of like monometals a little bit better. I feel like they kind of have a more unique feeling, and because I don't perform so much, like I don't need bimetals far and away perform better, and for players that are performance-based players that just need to get up there and are competing and all that, I totally get why a lot of competitors would pick a bimetal over a monometal. Absolutely makes sense. That being said, for me, I kind of feel like something about the feel of the bimetals doesn't always stick with me very well. I prefer the monometals generally. However, that being said, this might be my favorite bimetal that I've ever played with. This 2016 Superstar is now the Star line is a it's a kind of YoyoFactory's flagship line. So anything with a star in the title, Protostar, North Star, Superstar, Pop Star. That's sort of their like flagship line of yo-yos, where they're not really, at least at this point, not really. I don't think they're really anybody's signatures per se. I realize the Superstar is probably John Ando's signature still, or at least it was initially. But more or less, they're not anybody's signature yo-yos, but they're sort of YoyoFactory's flagship line, and kind of something that they're sort of saying, hey, this is what we are as YoyoFactory, and this is a great addition to the line. I really like this because it really kind of has a lot of the properties of that I like in monometals, and it's also got like the performance aspect of a bimetal, and I kind of really feel like that's really a nice thing for this. Now I've played, you could say, oh, you've only reviewed one other. I definitely like this better than the Nightmare, which I've also done a review for. I've traded my Nightmare. I don't have it to compare it, but I like this better, and it's probably just a shape thing. The Nightmare was kind of small and V, and not that I didn't like it or that it didn't perform well. I just didn't play it as much because I didn't think it was as fun as most of my other yo-yos. So traded it away, and what I have now I think is much more fun, and I play that a lot more. That being said, the Superstar, tons of fun, and I played a lot, and it's sort of added stability and extra spin times and just overall better performance has really kind of helped me work on longer tricks and work on tricks that I thought were a little bit more complex, because I've got the spin time and the stability to kind of screw it up. So that's kind of one of my favorite things about this, is that it kind of allows me to be less than perfect, and still work on a trick. So it's got that going for it, which is really nice. So let's get right into the specs here. The diameter of this yo-yo is 54.9 millimeters, and it is 42.05 millimeters wide. The gap width is 4.8 millimeters, and it weighs in at 66.2 grams, so it's kind of a little bit heavy for a bimetal. But again, that might be part of what I like about it, is that it kind of feels like a monometal but performs like a bimetal, so maybe that's what they were going for. At 66 grams, that's kind of a sweet spot for me, 65, 66 grams. I think I say that in every video. So, it really feels very familiar to me at that weight, although it does, because of the bimetal rings, it does kind of feel like, particularly when you're swinging it from one side to the other, it does kind of feel like it's heavier and it got a little bit of oomph behind it, but it also kind of feels like, because of the bimetal rings, it's like almost gas powered or something, like it really wants to go. So that's cool too. But because it's a little bit heavier, it's not overwhelmingly fast. I got the chance to play a drop near yesterday, and I kind of felt like it wanted to play faster than I wanted it to play, and I totally understand why some players would love that, but for me it was almost jarring. But this, I feel like, is kind of like, it does what I tell it to do, and I have a lot of control at this weight point. So 66.2 grams. Comes with the standard CBC center track bearing, with the standard CBC 19mm slim pads, designed in USA, manufactured in China. Now this comes in at 75 bucks. That's pretty cheap for a bimetal. I think even the bimetals from Magic Yo-Yo are $50 to $75 to $80. So for YoyoFactory to be $75 for a bimetal that's this cool. You know, it's awesome. I gotta say this. You know, I don't have enough good things to say about this. Now, I got this on the BST because for me, YoyoFactories they're so readily available. I can pretty much always get one, and because I have so many yo-yos, I can't always just say that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna buy whatever brand new, because I can't justify it to my wife or in my head. But I wanted one of these because I did play one, and this is actually very similar to the Recess Vacation, or the weekend or vacation. I think it's the Vacation that this one's very similar to. Yeah, and the Vacation's a little bit lighter, which is cool, but they feel very similar. But you can tell the Vacation, I think, is almost a gram lighter. If you play them back to back, you can tell, oh yeah, these are very similar yo-yos. But the Vacation's a little bit lighter. I like it a little bit better because it's a little bit lighter. You still kind of get all the fun and performance of this, but like it's just a little bit lighter. So, but it doesn't like try to be too fast either. It's very controllable. So I like that too, but I don't have one of those. Those are also like 120 or something, although they come in cooler colors. These just pretty much come in standard, you know, black, gold, blues. I think there's a pink, but that's not to take away from this. It's $75. This is the heavyweight bimetal. This is the bimetal in the $75 range. I mean, I think I've, you know, in the $75 to $100 range. I feel like this is it. Like this one's awesome. The shape is very similar. The only thing I have that it's similar to is the Shark's Honor, the Magic Yo-Yo Shark's Honor. It doesn't play anything like this. So, you know, it's just really a shape thing. It's kind of that rounded off H shape. Although this has some neat, like, as you can see, like cuts in it. So it's more intricate. The Shark's Honor is just sort of rounded. The cuts and things are more intricate on the bimetal Superstar. And this way outperforms the Shark's Honor, like 10 times. Not the Shark's Honor's bad yo-yo, but this outperforms it. You know, so it's really kind of a nice, it feels good in your hand, it's nice and comfortable, it's wide, the shape is wide, it's very, you know, for somebody looking to get into bimetals, I think, if you're very fond of your monometals and how they feel, I feel like this is a great step, because I feel like a lot of bimetals are, like, they want to play you more than you can play them, at least that's how I've felt about them, but this one really kind of eases you in. It's a very familiar feel if you're very used to monometals, but you kind of get all the benefits of the bimetal and you really get to push it as well. So the last thing I wanted to say about it is this cup here is definitely sort of designed for finger spins. There's like an outer cup, and then like the inner cup is sort of concaved in. It's hard to see because of the Superstar engraving there. Now the engraving doesn't feel terrible, and it certainly feels like something you could do a finger spin on, and it certainly seems like that's what it was designed for. I don't think it's the gimmick of this yo-yo to do finger spins. I just think when YoyoFactory designed it, they had that in mind, so that somebody that did want to do, you know, finger spins or the horizontal finger grind would be able to do it. The only sort of downside is that, as you can kind of see on this, is that the rims are kind of shiny. And so it doesn't grind that great, and it's not that great of a grind finish. Now the inner like lips, the inner like little groove here is more grind friendly than the outer rims, but the outer rims are kind of shiny. So the only thing that it's not great for in that regard is anything that's not this kind of a grind, because if your hand hits it where it's shiny, if your hand is sweaty or anything, it kind of sticks. Not that that's terrible, and not that I mind it, because I think it looks cool, shiny, and then kind of matte on the inside. I think that's a great look, but I've caught it on my hand on the outside a couple of times, and you know, I often throw the yo-yo into my hand to just grind it on my palm and throw it back on the string. I think that's a fun little thing to do. Can't really do that with this. Now, just that's probably purely a design thing, but that's just, you know, my only downside is that I kind of wish it was more blasted around the edges, but I feel like the steel rings kind of would prevent that anyway, so it's probably just sort of a trade-off that you have to give for using a monometal. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Like and subscribe. I really appreciate everybody watching. We're getting a lot of views, a lot of channel keeps growing. I really appreciate that, guys. I really do. All the love and support that you guys give to me. Tell me about it in the comments. Tell me what you think about the Superstar. Do you like it? Do you have one? Let me know in the comments. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers to you, and I'll see you next time.